This is day number 435 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you would like to sponsor our coming share or more of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing Simon Reis Tzadik Vav Sif Yud Zion. It's a Reis Tzadik Zion Sif Zion. Yud Zion. Rabbeinu says pasuk d'Avdol Yusha. But he says the pasuk d'Avdol should be said sitting. But time the chol davar shemotziachem tzvelios b'kfius, because anything you're trying to motzi other people, you're supposed to do something in a formal setting. In other words, you're formally getting together by sitting around the table or whatever. Rabbeinu Ramah pasak the Mu'umad. The Ramah says to do it standing up. B'chein nogim dinoselu. And that is the custom in our countries. And the reason is because to accompany the king, you have to stand up. And if the issue is kvius, everybody prepares himself to hear Abdullah Havik kvius gamamira. It's also kvius by standing. Nevertheless, yeshma Abdullah shosim yushav. Famously the Gra. So they have Abdullah sitting down. My youth, following the family minute, I used to stand up for Havdalah, and then later on, I started sitting for Havdalah, making it more parallel to Friday night when we sit down for the bracha. Havdalah also should have, to my mind, the same. It should be part of the symmetry, but of course, obviously, the different minhagim. You're supposed to hold the wine in the right hand, Vadas be small and Hadas the left hand, Baruch HaYain, make a bracha on the wine, Mishum Notel Hadas be Yamin, and you take the Hadas in your right hand, Vayain be small and the wine left hand, Baruch Hadas, and make a bracha on the Hadas, Umevarech Umansi Yain, put the wine back in your right hand, Ad Kan Lushono. Mishum Namashim Baruch Mitzuchim Lechos so Dover be Yamin, because whatever you make the bracha on, you were supposed to hold in your right hand. Shul Yari Yikor, which is the primary hand. The dadachiza b'small in a chova cloud. To hold the das in the left hand is not a requirement at all. Okay, it's a that's why we don't hold the b'samim when you make the bracha on wine. When you do make the bracha on the b'samim, we put the cup down on the table. The note of b'samim, take the b'samim in your right hand. The kavana ikar. So the main point is the intent. To hold the wine in the right hand, and the b'samim in the right hand, at the times of their brachos. So if you're holding something else, of course, it's in the left hand. It's not necessary to actually put something in holding the left hand. The Mishnah Berurah disagrees. He says not to put the cup down because all the brachos of Abdullah should be al hakois. But obviously, Arukh HaShulchan does not hold that way, and I think the meaning is more like the Arukh HaShulchan than the Mishnah Berurah. Yudches, I feel Shamu Kol Bnei Abayis Havdalah Beis HaKnesses, even if all the members of the household heard Havdalah in shul. In this Kam Shlo Tzeis, if they had in mind not to be Yotze in shul, Filu Bistama, even where they didn't have any specific kavanah whatsoever. The Shlois Kavanah Tzeis, they didn't have a specific kavanah to be Yotze. The darker tummy lies so little bites, and they always make Abdullah at home. But Bavdim make Abdullah at home. The low mikra Mashimar brachos chinam is not called multiplying brachos for naught. Kadar abakantri kol ba'abais tov shelu beiso. It's best that every Baal Bos makes Abdullah in his own house. Those who say Tamid Chachamim elam lismoch al Abdullah shebabayis. Chachamim should not rely on Abdullah shebeis haknesses. He should rely on Abdullah made in shul. The Shubra says everybody should be like a Tam Chacham in that respect. Even though there doesn't seem any intrinsic reason not to be Yotze in shul. People argue on this. Nevertheless, so it's good for every Baal Bos. They have to own his house. But they always rely on Avdol and shul. So we assume that they are Yotze. Because even if they didn't have specific kavanah this time, in Moshe's Kabbalah says unless they had kavanah not to be Yotze. For Rabbi Yonah and said that Arbei poskim serving the Avdol Doraisa. We already explained again in the Simon that many poskim hold Avdol Doraisa. Nashim chayavos nashim that women are chayav in Havdalah just as much as men. Rei Tzadik Zayin. Pirtei Dinim B'samim Havdalah. Specific halachos about the b'samim one uses for Havdalah. Aleph. Hatam b'samim Havdalah. The reason why we do the Havdalah with b'samim is in Nation Shabbos. Shlomi says, Kan Shabbos says there is additional soul. Motzei Shabbos says Medam, and Motzei Shabbos leaves of the person. Yesh Kan Chalishas Adas, and he has a weakening, a feeling of loss. Some mechaski my nefesh, and the fragrances they fortify his soul. The chol reachtom mechasik nefesh, any good fragrance fortifies his soul. Furthermore, the Shabbos gam gehenim b'menucha. And Shabbos also hell is at rest. Motzei Shabbos and Tchilas Yom, Motzei Shabbos starts burning again. Veish isha shegenim aschiach, and the fire of Gehenna is evidently a sulfurous fire, and it smells bad. I skipped it. The soul it gets weakened by this, and it's necessary to support it and sustain it. Even though these are all spiritual reasons, nevertheless, call Ish Yisrael, Margish means that. HaShulchan does get mystical on this. He says that every Jew feels this, that the and a slime, which is invariable that concerning this, the call Ish Yisrael Motzei Shabbos, Motzei Asatzon B'Hishtanus. Every person Motzei Shabbos finds himself different. He feels different than on Shabbos. Even though he doesn't see a tangible difference, he senses it internally. And both reasons require each other. Why? That's it, because it explains us why Motzei Yontif we don't make a bracha on B'samim, Mishum Yontif like a Neshama Yisera, because there's no additional Neshama on Yontif. Motzei Shabbos Chav Yontif, Motzei Shabbos comes out of Yontif, Gankin like a B'samim. There is no B'samim, why not? Neshama Gehenim Shabbos can be Yontif, because Gehenim is at rest, also on Yontif. Base. Became a Shenim B'samim Mikar Dini Havdalah, since B'samim are not intrinsically part of the primary, or not intrinsic component of Havdalah. Therefore, Miyeshlo B'samim Mevarch, yes, so he makes a bracha, and if not, Eitzal Zorchaim doesn't have to pursue them. Kavachomer may or this is Kavachomer from the bracha on a candle. Digar B'chosim Motzei Shabbos, the primary bracha on the candle is Motzei Shabbos. Nevertheless, you don't have to pursue it if you don't have it. That's going to be clarified in the next segment. But Koshkin B'Sam Mishenel Ashila Sanev, certainly B'Sam, which is only to restore your soul, then you don't have to pursue it. We have a Daktim Ram Shelim B'Samim Lavdol, but of course, people have a Daktim Mitzvah, they're going to make sure to have a B'Samim. This is what all God-fearing people do. Gimel, Ema Barchin El Absarim Masui Kedei Ariach. You only make the bracha on something which are made for fragrance. I am some shechanus, some you buy in the store, but buys and they're in the house. Hasila reachtov when they're made for a good fragrance. I may meet up something like biru but the something is like a deodorant. It's there in order to remove a bad smell or zoma or pollution. It's like a fragrance they put next to a bathroom in order to remove the disgusting smell. Or something which are placed above the body of somebody who died, in order that there shouldn't be a bad smell emanating. And all similar cases. We don't make a bracha on these fragrances. They're not made for a good fragrance, or Javier, but to remove a bad fragrance. Bad odor, I should say. Also, there are fragrances in a gathering of idolaters. You should not use those fragrances. And they will soon have in mind their own avodah zarah when they're using them. And it's forbidden to benefit from the psalmim. But the Pirtei didn't say in these bar b'sim ratio Zayin Ayin Sham. So explained already. V'im birechal echad mikol, if we made a bracha on any one of these, lo yotzei, we're not yotzei. B'chasa karov batola. So it's close. I'm not sure where it's not actually bracha batola, but it's totally close to about bracha batola, because you're not supposed to make a bracha on these fragrances. Abi shar reach me'em tov, even though they have a good fragrance. The fish ain't reach tov, because they're not for a good fragrance. El avira, but to move the bad fragrance. Vato mimelase, then automatically on its own the good fragrance comes in. Therefore you have to make a bracha on other b'samim. Yeshu Chanan basically he has some prepared in his house. It's not a bracha which is unnecessary since you're making a bracha on the first b'samim, even though they're not appropriate to use. No, because you're always allowed to make a bracha on other b'samim. It's not like food, as long as it's not digested, you still yotzu that could be yotzu this first bracha. Whenever you smell a pleasant fragrance, it's a panim chadashos. It's a new thing, and therefore, it passes immediately, right? When this fragrance passes, you're not satisfied anymore, so then you can make a bracha immediately on other b'samim. Where do we get from this? The Lebishim would say Shabbos. You can always make a bracha on other fragrance, not specifically Motzei Shabbos, because you're Motzei Shabbos, and still Motzei Shabbos you can. Cherem B'samim Shel Erva. So too on B'samim which are made for an illicit purpose. Such as fragrance which she has on her neck or in her hands, this inappropriate woman. Even though it's made to smell, it's made to allure, right? You don't make a bracha on it. Because maybe it will allure you, and you'll come to have this prostitution relationship. Like it says there. But then you have to be the Yemen answer the. But in this case of the fragrance of Arayas, the Yemen you don't have to make another bracha. Came with Shirak because it's only a decree lest you come to consort with the woman. Something which are made to remove sweat, antiperspirant. Ein mevarchin don't take a bracha. Chena mugmar on an incense. Shem garmos which you used to give the vessels, clothing, and such like a good smell. Or if you smell these garments which have received the fragrance of the incense, have a bracha v'atoch chazon bracha. It's no good. You have to make a new bracha. Find some simulation sign printed dinim bezeh. Simulation sign discusses further. You don't make a bracha on the vessel in which you pound the b'samim. Even though it smells good, because that fragrance is made on, it comes out on its own. It's not made deliberately in order to smell. So to any fragrance where you don't have the actual substance upon it, but it was like rubbed on a clay vessel or something, you don't make the bracha on the fragrance because again it's well, I get the. That's a fragrance. What did I say? An example? I don't remember. I forgot the example I just gave. But yeah, it's to rub the fragrance on something, then it's the only thing you rub it on. That you don't make a bracha. Mishra's Brewer says if you see in the bottom of the vessel, which you rub the b'samim, that there's still some samim left, such as I guess he says it like I don't remember the pronounce this, but you know. A cachet of fragrances they put into a drawer to keep it fresh, so then you can make a bracha on that, on those psalms. Dal, b'sim reish design is baru dinei berachas hareach sheishmer v'shabarkim b'rei atzei b'samim oitzei b'samim. And Reish Tezvayin explained that they're categories of the fragrances. Some are the trees of b'samim, or some are grasses of b'samim, or nosim rechto of pears, so sometimes make a bracha, he gives good fragrance to the fruit. O Bari Shemarei, bless the We don't have this bracha anymore. Well, we do actually. Make a bracha on the Hashem created fragrant oils. V'abracha kloli is so the bracha which is like shahakol for fragrance who borim minei b'samim. Who created types of fragrances. She yotze bracha zeh kol minei b'samim. Yotze this bracha any b'samim. Como bircha shahakol, just like bracha shahakol midei da'achila and stuff you eat, ushasiya or drink. L'chein ha'minhag I'd say that the minhag by us is the borim minei b'samim b'shas abdullah. That's the bracha we make time of abdullah. I'll call in Basar Shechim on any type of fragrance which we use. Because not everybody knows is well conversant with the laws of Psalmim. Since we don't have that many herbs, spices, etc. No matter what, make a burning of something, whatever comes in front of you. Mishabura says it's best to take something where the bracha is actually burning with something. So you're not shifting a bracha under those circumstances because that's actually the bracha regardless. Hey, yesh pilpulin. I guess it's actually plain words. Yesh mefalpulin. There are those who want to say a pilpul. In mevarchin on pilpulin, if you can make a burning of something on peppers, kibirchas b'samim. We never heard such a thing. The aim mevarchin. You don't make a bracha on peppers. Aval zangbils can ingbar cook too shulchan on pounded ginger. You can make the bracha. Mishabur says English peppers do have a good smell, and you can make the bracha on them. As well as kudim samim. But generic peppers, it's a maklekas apaiskim, and also by ginger he says maklekas apaiskim. So therefore he's obviously seven brachas he would not make the bracha according to Mishnah. But choshket out simmering, which I think are cloves. Shiachol bar can make a bracha. That's bracha shulchan. Yeshua some say that if you pass lechem after you make a bracha on fresh bread because that's great smell. Lo shemaim mishal sakim. Never heard anybody does this. The sakim leim b'samim sacks which are full of b'samim shemesimim hainam Yehudim. Which the non-Jews put tokach it in vessels of wine. Like was custom in the ancient times. You're allowed to smell them. They made so that they're made to put smell in the wine, not to take smell from the wine. Therefore, whatever fragrance they observe is not going to be a problem. They're primarily made to impart fragrance. What does Mishabura say here? He says that also, the reason why you can make a bracha on these herbs and spices because the person who smells it, I guess part of the okay, you do make a bracha on the besamim because you don't have a bracha on, not in mind for the wine, you have in mind the fragrance. Okay, but again, sakim leim besamim, bundles full of besamim shemasimin and Yehudim tokarkariyayim, which not just put inside of wine barrels. Kamosha mineg skem like was custom in old days. Aval bishes sois mutar lo diach l'riach bem. You know, you can still smell these fragrances. Nei shenasim sheminu reach biyayim v'lo yayim b'hem, because they made that they should give a fragrance to wine, not the wine to them. Become nevertheless, aim of the only you can't make of all of them. The most of them are mitzvahs. It's repugnant for a mitzvah purpose. Because I mean, it says Nagul Barak al Hadas Kolichat Def Shakal Shano. Says it's preferable to make a bracha on Hadasi. Vishanasabo mitzvahs Arba Minim Sukkos, because the mitzvah Arminim was fulfilled with them on Sukkos. Royal Asos Bo old mitzvah, so therefore it's appropriate to do another mitzvah with it, which is the mitzvah of Havdalah. So, what does it say here? She says that specifically on other days of the year, but in Sukkot, you can't use it because it's hooked to the mitzvah. It's designated for the mitzvah. You can't take away something which is designated for a mitzvah and use it for private use when the mitzvah is in force. Nevertheless, as he said, oh wait. Mishnah Berurah says also that you're not supposed to use Hadas in Sukkot. You use the rest of it, not in Sukkot, because then it's hooked on mitzvah, so it's designated for its mitzvah. That's what he's saying. Rabbeinu back on Rabbeinu Kosab the issue the Ein Baruch Hadas Yabesh. Some say don't make a bracha on a dry Hadas. The Ein Maria doesn't have a fragrance. Some they use other types of fragrances. Say these countries don't use Hadasim. But it's symbolically good to put Hadas together with the other B'samim. The Osim Kuliyam, because then you say all the Shitos. We don't do this. Our Hadas get dry and get ruined relatively quickly. We also don't use it for fragrance generally, because they have nothing else to smell. Therefore, we don't have this minute of whether it is to put the hadas inside with the other spices. We're going to find out the B'Yom Kippurim aim of Arukh HaShulchan. Yom Kippur don't make a bracha on Samim, Motzei Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is over. V'afil Chav Shabbos, even came out on Shabbos. The fish and tiny slab on the Shomisei. The Shomisei comes with extra food. So Rashi says in Beitzah, so they should be able to digest extra food. And Yom Kippur, there is no extra food, even Yom Kippur is on Shabbos. Therefore, there is no Malava Malka. So he said again, let me. Nevertheless, let's say you did fast on the Shabbos at Tainis Chalom. You do make a bracha on because they ate the night before. For long Chamim men in the Shem they say they didn't lose this in the Shem they say Mashiach Yom Kippur. So Yom Kippur where there's no eating the night before. So Mom says me bad yoy. Shrei Gam Yom Kippur Yesh Chokim. In Yom Kippur they are people who say you should make a bracha Motzei Yom Kippur. What's happening? What's because of Shab? Motzei Shabbos the bracha b'samim k'shei yisanes. So therefore, the fact if where everybody fasts, they're still happening to say b'samim. So if you're the only one who's fasting, don't be personal. It's even say the and rather do say the bracha b'samim. Zay Kosar Rabbeinu says, "Hey, Misha Eno Miriach, somebody doesn't have the capacity to smell. And bracha b'samim can make a bracha on b'samim. Elkei Skamo Tibnei Beis, so unless he had a mind to be exempt the members of his household, Aktarim, the minor ones should give clinical reach level of education. Oh, Misha Eno Yodea Umotzio, or you have to make the bracha in order to be motzi. Somebody else is listening to you because he doesn't know how to make the bracha. Yesh Chokim says those who argue on this. Because they say the ain't the club Sunday club brichas mitzvahs. The some is not called the brichas mitzvah. We can motzi other people. Shneim azeh aval b'shiyot some motzi, where it says you can motzi other people even you're already motzi yourself. Shneim some ikar b'avdol because it's not primary in avdol. Shneim eloshi on others only made to restore the soul. V'apish kapanim tiklu b'samim avdol even though they didn't make b'samim as part of avdol. Because nevertheless harbe mevorchim below b'samim cloud. Rabbi made the avdol without b'samim. L'pshita sh'amavdol ha'cherem bu'eno wrote to l'riach hato. It's partially b'samim made avdol for others. He doesn't want to smell the hadas at the moment. He already smelled, perhaps. Shekvar heriach already smelled it. Lo yevrech b'chas b'samim shouldn't make the bracha b'samim. Ela shom yivrech only the people themselves who are listening should make the bracha. U'milim ratzel l'riach chavrech, but he wants the first smell. He can't make the bracha. The ha'yachol l'riach come upon b'shitza. You can smell it as much as you want. But normally by birchas habesamim, I've never seen this. The people not Yossi when they mevarich, they make the bracha themselves. The chen bebirkas taner, and that's also true about Bori Mari Ha'ish. Mishnah Berurah says it's only to be motzi the members of your household that you can do so, because you have mitzvah to your chaz and mitzvahs. But you can't be motzi if you are one of these people who is exotic in nature. You can't be motzi somebody who doesn't know, because he's not because since he's not libelous because that's because he already made the because he already made Abdullah. He's not liable Abdullah. Can be motzi others yidei chavasa. Okay, I'm not sure about that because you were batzim chayiv. You might say mitzvah, but you were batzim chayiv. So I'm not sure if that. I don't exactly know if that holds water. He says also if it's a mitzvah for everybody to be yotze with the bracha and mevarich, because Rovam Hajas Melech, unless you're distant from the candle or you can't use its light right away. And in those scenarios, you should not have my mind to be yotze with the bracha of the candle, but rather after I might the candle later on. After Abdullah, when it's close to home, you should put the bracha, which you're supposed to make, on the candle off until after Abdullah's over. You can't get to the time, and then you should make the bracha on the candle directly.